Fortnite Battle Royale, one of, if not the most influential and largest games in history, beating out titans in the gaming community such as Terraria, Tetris, Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, and even Minecraft in terms of sheer registered player accounts. There is no doubt that this is one of, if not the most popular game on the planet. But while it's a titan of gaming, can it take down an actual titan? Today we're pitting Fortnite against an IP that's been going strong for the past 70 years, the longest ongoing fictional character of all time, Godzilla, or specifically MonsterVerse's Evolved Godzilla. As many of you know at this point, Evolved Godzilla is coming to Fortnite Battle Royale, joining the likes of DC, Marvel, Star Wars, and many more. Now, while I myself am very excited for this, what if he came earlier? What if, like in the MonsterVerse, his role is to protect and handle the threats on the island? Today we're asking the question, could Godzilla stop the Fortnite events? Hello everyone, it's your host Goji Guy, and today we're pitting the king of the monsters against the reality-shattering Fortnite events. Can this radioactive, overgrown lizard take on or stop the mystical and cataclysmic occurrences within Fortnite? Well, sit back and relax. And to anyone new watching, if you enjoy videos like this, make sure to subscribe and check out the channel. I post weekly videos ranging from dinosaurs, kaiju, anime, sci-fi, and analog horror, and so much more. So first we need to address the rules and conditions of this fight. Now firstly, what do I mean by stop? Well, we'll be analyzing each event and seeing if Godzilla has shown any feats that can suggest that he has what it takes to stop these events. So what events will he be facing off against? Well, let's cover them. His bracket is Blast Off, Crack Closure, Butterfly Event, Ice Storm, the Unvaulting, the Final Showdown, the End, Travis Scott's Astronomical, The Device, the Devourer of Worlds, Zero Crisis Finale, Operation Skyfire, The End Chapter 2, Collision, and finally, Absolute Doom. Now, while in the lore of Fortnite, which I will not be explaining, Godzilla would realistically let some of these happen. As well destructive, they are for the betterment of reality, but that's not what we're asking. So we'll be assuming that for whatever reason, Godzilla wants to put a stop to each event. And yes, I'm aware I didn't list off every single event, but we're trying to go for the big, impactful ones. So, no, we're not going to break down the Marshmallow Concert or see if we can stop the first meteor strike. So with all that out of the way, let's quickly cover what Godzilla has done so we have a good idea of what he can pull off. Now to my returning viewers, this will be a little different than normal, as this isn't like a normal versus, where we find out who can lift more and who's faster. Rather, we need to look at Godzilla's best feats and keep them all in mind to find out if he has what it takes to stop the events. Now we will be covering general Godzilla here, so just his feats he shows in verse. But for a certain event, and by certain I mean exclusively the Galactus one, we'll be wanking Godzilla like never before on this channel, turning a blind eye to outliers and assuming everything is canon. So let's cover what he's done so we can get into this. For strength, Evolved Godzilla is in the 200,000 metric ton range of strength, as he can pretty easily push around Shimo. But onto his unweighted strength feats. Godzilla as early as 2014, just from swimming, is able to cause tsunamis due to his sheer size. He's able to casually walk through the Golden Gate Bridge, and again break a bridge just by standing up in GVK. He's easily able to break through ice, as seen in King of the Monsters, Dominion while weakened, and GXK. He creates shockwaves just from clashing into his foes. And his best feat is the fact that he lifted an island off of his back in Awakening, which, doing the rough calculations for it, this island would weigh upwards of 4 million tons. For durability, Godzilla is unbothered by pretty much all sorts of military fire. He can take buildings falling on him, he eats nuclear bomb explosions for breakfast. In fact, he's shown to grow stronger due to them. He takes punches from the Muto Prime, who's strong enough to break open the Earth's crust. He no-sells punches to the face from Kong, Kong being able to punch with the force of a 4.2 magnitude earthquake. He shrugs off being stabbed in the leg. He's able to take Mechagodzilla and Ghidorah's beams like a champ. And his best feat is the fact that he tanked the Permian asteroid to the face and just swam off. For context, the largest bomb ever made by humans, the Tsar Bomba, is nothing compared to the Permian asteroid. It would take roughly 2 million Tsar Bombas to release the same amount of energy as the asteroid impact. Now onto his abilities. Evolved Godzilla is able to use his atomic weapons, of course, such as his atomic breath and atomic pulses. And given he can supercharge, he can amplify those attacks to an outrageous degree. He has his heightened senses, being able to detect things small as Mechagodzilla's eye. He has telepathy, being able to talk to other beings without words. He has sharpened dorsal plates, a blunt but prehensile tail, amphibiousness, energy absorption, and DNA absorption. And we'll quickly cover his beam. Now, while I hate using statements with no backing, we will need to wank Goji a little bit for this video, so it's not just him losing non-stop. His beam, as stated by Greg Keyes, the writer of all these books on screen, is stated to be the most powerful thing in nature, so it would be more destructive than things such as earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanoes. But that's just nature on Earth. You could wank this to celestial bodies, comparing it to blazars, hypernovas, and even black holes. But for what his beam is actually shown, when weakened, it was able to push back the female Muto, who weighs in at 60,000 metric tons. It's able to one-tap Shinamura, who also survived the Permian asteroid with Godzilla. It's able to push the Muto Prime, who weighs 135,000 tons. He's able to easily part the clouds. He's able to shove Ghidorah to the ground, Mr. Monster Zero coming in at 141,056 tons. even at one point sending Ghidorah into the air for a moment. It easily cuts through and eviscerates man-made structures. it's able to push back the 90,000 ton Kong, even when it was being absorbed by his axe. And of course, when he was able to blast a hole halfway through the planet. It slices through pyramids like butter in GXK, and finally, he's able to defuse and destroy Shimo's Ice Storm. So, with all that context, let's finally dive in. First up is Season 4's Blastoff, the first major Fortnite event, and widely respected by the Fortnite fans as a whole. Now in this event, we see the Visitor use a film prop rocket to take off into the sky. How does he do that with a prop? Don't question it. Now, while the rocket is powerful in the sense that it can create rifts, that's more due to the fact that the Visitor added a lot of futuristic tech to it. So the rocket itself is still just, well, metal. And given what Godzilla is capable of, this event would be pretty easy for him. In fact, he can stop it in a few ways. Firstly, and most easily, he can just walk up and do a pulse. As we know that thanks to the GXK novel, when Godzilla pulsed in France, he released an EMP. So he could just short-circuit the rocket. Now onto the one that's a little bit more tedious, but still pretty easy. Just beam it. A single beam from Godzilla, whether it's normal, evolved, or supercharged, will do the job. So with really no difficulty, Godzilla can stop the Blastoff event. Now onto Season 5, the Crack Closure. Now, realistically, this event and many others wouldn't happen, as the rocket never successfully took off, but just sweep that fact under the rug. So for this event, we'll be discussing two versions of it. Firstly, can Godzilla stop the lightning strike from happening in the first place? And secondly, if he can't, can he stop or even break Kevin? So let's start with the former. Now, it's hard to say if Godzilla could sense what's happening, but given the map's relatively small size, along with how much energy would be building up in the sky, he would most likely know something is going on. Now, let's just assume he's there where it happens. As well, if he's not, then no, he can't really stop something that he's not there to stop. This lightning strike is extremely violent, and at first seems like it's much too powerful for Godzilla to handle. But if we take a closer look and look at the ground where the lightning hits, it really didn't cause any damage. So realistically, if Godzilla was there, charging up his beam and fires his atomic breath to clash with the lightning, he would pretty easily overpower it. So for part 1, yes, he can stop the lightning strike. Now to the question of stopping Kevin. Now this one is interesting, but overall, yes he can. In fact, I again have two reasons why. Let me explain. Now firstly, we see in Operation Skyfire that the cubes are killable in a sense, as we straight up kill one in the event. Now how we kill it is hard to say, but given what is shown, it seems to be some sort of powerful EMP. So Godzilla can just walk up again and do an EMP, and that should do the job. But the more interesting part is that Godzilla might just be able to consume Kevin in a sense. Now, I asked my community whether they think Kevin is radioactive in nature, given how he behaves and affects things around him. And overall, the consensus was an outstanding yes, which only makes sense. Something as powerful and energized as Kevin would for sure be radioactive. And given Evolved Godzilla has plenty of storage for radiation, 20 times more than normal in fact, he might just straight up be able to drain Kevin's power, causing him to power off. So again, with pretty much no difficulty, Godzilla moves on. Now onto Season 6, with the Butterfly event. Now, this event is hard to say. I firstly want to say that we're not asking if Godzilla can stop or break the alternate reality we are seemingly sent into, as well Godzilla doesn't really have any reality manipulating powers. Yet. Only time will tell what the Monsterverse will do with Godzilla next. Now, what leads to the event, though, is different, as we see Kevin is reborn from Leaky Lake. And while he's more dangerous, given his power is violently emitting out of him now, that really just makes it easier for Godzilla, as he doesn't have to try as hard to get the energy out of him. And for the storm above him, he can just dissipate it like he did with Shimo's storm in GXK. So while it'll be hard for Godzilla to reach Kevin given he is now airborne, again with really no difficulty, he can stop this one. Hey, editing Goji guy here. I just realized that Kevin is most definitely radioactive, given he literally powers a power plant in Chapter 2, so yeah, I'm pretty sure he's radioactive. Next up is Season 7's Ice Storm, my first ever season I played, and one of the most beloved seasons ever, mostly due to the Christmas aspect, but anyways. In this event, we see the Ice King summon a massive ice storm to cover the map in snow. And I'm gonna be real, this is probably the easiest so far. Godzilla can stop this event in many ways. 1, he can just blast the Ice King in the air before it starts, killing him instantly. 2, he can just beam at the storm to stop it, as he does with Shimo's storm in GXK. Or 3, just do a pulse that's too weak to seriously damage the map, but strong enough to just melt all the snow, turning the snowstorm into a rainstorm. So again, with no difficulty, he stops another event. And let me know in the comments what your favorite season was of Fortnite. Mine's a bit controversial, but mine was Chapter 2, Season 3. I think that season was absolutely peak. Anyways, next up is Season 8. In this season, we have the unvaulting, where a massive vault is opened in the ground, allowing players to choose to unvault an item. Now, this event, believe it or not, is also relatively easy to defeat. Now, it seems like it should be hard, given the 0 point is involved. It's actually what happens before the event that makes it easy. Before the vault opens, there are vault keys around the map that, to my knowledge, move to the vault, unlocking 5 parts of the vault to open it. So all Godzilla has to do is break, stop, or just move one out of the way, making it so the vault can never open. So yeah, again with no difficulty, Godzilla stops his event. Next up is Season 9's final showdown. Now this is where Godzilla will start to struggle. For this, we are replacing the mech with Godzilla. Now, why is this difficult, you may ask? Now, while the Devourer doesn't seem too strong normally, you need to take into account that he was able to take a punch from the mech that was amplified by the 0 point. The 0 point being a construct that created all of the Omniverse, creating everything there is. So given he tanked an attack that was amped by the 0 point, even Godzilla's most powerful attacks won't do much if anything to the Devourer. Now with that being said, the Devourer suffers from the Death Angel effect. While he can take hard hits, he can't really dish anything out that's too strong. So this fight will be really hard to determine the winner to. But we should add two things. First, we don't know how much power the 0 point gave to the mech. So while sure, even if it was a small amount, it would still be a lot of energy. But we just don't know how much it was. So that could help to level the field. That along with the fact that Godzilla has dealt with kaiju that are much more durable than himself, such as Shima or the Muto Prime, to add on further, the Devourer's intelligence or lack thereof, it makes it easier for Godzilla to possibly pull off a win, as we just need to make sure he stops the event. That doesn't imply killing them. If Godzilla can use his abilities and battle techniques to his advantage, the Devourer could be scared off. So it really depends on how this fight between the two of them would play out. But overall, I'd say with high difficulty, Godzilla can stop the final showdown. And while that was pretty tough, one thing that shouldn't be hard is finding quality kaiju and anime figures for an affordable price. That's where today's sponsor comes in, Beast of the East Collectibles. Beast has sponsored many videos in the past, and today is no exception. Today we're here showing off their SH Figure Arts Ultraman Belial. This figure, like any Figure Arts box, is amazing. It's very well designed, and has no bumps or dents, which really shows off the care and quality of Beast of the East shipping. They do everything in their power to make sure your package gets to you safely. In the box, you get Belial, some extra pair of hands, and this weird staff thing. I don't know too much about Belial yet, I just think he looks cool. The articulation is great, and goes well with any other Ultra or Kaiju figure. Like any Figure Arts, he is very posable, so whether you just want to play around or take professional photos, this figure can help with that. Though, sadly, I actually got the last one they had, so as of right now, they're out of stock. Lol, my bad. But don't worry, Beast is very fast with their restocking. And they also still have the upcoming Mega Monster Battle Ultra Galaxy Legends SH Figure Arts Ultraman Belial Darkness Heals version, which is still up for pre-order as of right now. And here's the best part. Not only does Beast offer some of, if not the best prices out there for kaiju figures, but you can save an additional 5% on your order when using code GOJIGUY5 at checkout. Thank you, Beast, for sponsoring this video, and let's move on. Now into the finale of Chapter 1. We have Season 10's The End Event. In this event, the 0 point is destabilized, and the 7 use their Rift technology to send the Season 3 meteor crashing into the 0 point. Now, realistically, this is one of the events Godzilla would let happen, but we still need to cover the question, could he stop it? And, well, yes, easily. Just blow up the rockets and the meteor. Now, the 0 point is still cooked, but the event itself as we know it is stopped. So, with like low difficulty, Godzilla moves on. Next up is Travis Scott's Astronomical. Now, this one is tricky, as I don't think people realize how powerful Travis Scott is in Fortnite. Let's quickly cover Travis Scott's abilities, which include body modification. This is shown when he turns himself from literal light into his body, and the fact that he changes size and shape throughout the event. Teleportation, as shown throughout the performance. Object teleportation, as shown when we the players are teleported around throughout the performance. Some form of matter materialization, or just straight up telekinesis, as shown when he creates slides for us to slide around, or when he creates seemingly tiny stars and slams them together. Reality manipulation, such as changing the time of day, or within an instant flooding the map. He's able to affect those around him, such as giving the players low gravity and speed boosts. He has lightning, fire, and light abilities. He has gravity manipulation, as shown in slides us the players around the map. And he of course has his planet, which throughout the performance gets larger and more powerful. And at the end of the event, he literally warps reality again into recreating the butterfly event. So yeah, there is literally nothing Godzilla can do to affect him. Even if you want to use the higher end things for Goji, that we'll bring up later, still, even if Godzilla is stronger and more durable, Travis can still just de-atomize him and erase him from reality as a whole. So with no difficulty, Travis wins this, and Godzilla takes his first L. Next up is Chapter 2, Season 2's Device Event, where Midas creates a machine to push back the storm. EMP. Yeah, it's a giant machine. With no difficulty, Godzilla can just pulse and destroy it. Yeah, he moves on. Now into Chapter 2, Season 4's The Devourer of Worlds. Now this will be wanking Godzilla, because I think this fight could be quite interesting. Now, normal Godzilla, yeah, he's cooked. But for this fight, we'll be amplifying him with the 0 point itself. Yes, really. As seen in the event, the 0 point for a brief moment was able to hold off Galactus, but due to the fact that it really didn't have any attacks, or, well, a body, it very quickly lost the battle. But what if Godzilla took in its power? Well, firstly, can he? Using the absolute highest wanks for Godzilla, he is easily in the star ranges of power, but we need a lot more to take in even a fraction of the 0 point's power. And to get Godzilla to that level of power, we need to use the DC crossover, where Godzilla and Kong take on the Justice League. Now, why is it important? Well, DC themselves said that Godzilla and Kong are the biggest threats the Justice League have ever fought, as in the Justice League in general, not just any specific version. And this was announced before they went on to say that this may or may not be the main timeline. So with that in place, Godzilla would be more powerful than the likes of Darkseid, a being who just from falling on it crushed the entire multiverse. Or Mr. Minxie, I think that's how you say it, a fifth-dimensional imp who views all of existence as a flattened geometry. He can also just casually blow up fifth-dimensional spaces. Or Lord Forbid Perpetua, I don't know these names, man, I do Godzilla content. A sixth-dimensional creature who made all of existence, even on higher levels in the fifth dimension. So if Godzilla outdoes all of them, then he should be able to tussle with Galactus. So overall, it really comes down to whether you choose to believe this is canon or not. If so, then Godzilla wipes the floor with Galactus, especially with the 0 point as a boost. But if you want to talk normal Goji, then yeah, Galactus would just eat him. So if it's normal Goji we've used throughout the video, then he would be cooked. But if you want to wank him to the sun and back, Goji could take the W. But personally, given that it's not clear whether it's canon or not, I'm gonna have to say Goji once again falls to another event. Next up is the Zero Crisis finale. Yeah, no. You're essentially asking if Godzilla can destroy the omniversal construct that is the 0 point. No. No, he can't. Next up is Chapter 2, Season 7's Operation Skyfire, and finally an event that Godzilla can once again beat. But really, this spaceship got blown up by some bombs, so one supercharged beam would do the job. With low difficulty, Godzilla moves on. Next is the end of Chapter 2. Now this one is hard to say, as to stop the event, he needs to stop the Cube Queen directly and her army. But overall, I think he has a chance to win here. Let me explain. Firstly, as we addressed, he can pretty easily destroy normal cubes, so those won't be a big issue. But the question is the Cube Queen, and well, he beats her without even trying. Now, let me explain. As we mentioned all the way back at the start of the video, Godzilla just from swimming causes tsunamis, so he would sense the force on the island and swim to shores. Or Lord forbid swim in the rivers themselves. And just from making landfall, he would sweep all the cubes into the water. And as to Kevin and the Cube Queen, water seems to be their weakness. So, yeah. Godzilla wouldn't even need to beam or really attack at all. Just making landfall on shore should do the job. With no difficulty, Godzilla moves on. Now onto our semi-final battle, the collision. So pretty much again we're replacing the mech with Godzilla, and well, yeah, just a beam should work, or again an EMP will just turn everything off. So with low difficulty, Godzilla again moves on. And now finally, absolute doom. And while I know, it seems like it should be an absolute beatdown, but Fortnite Doom isn't nearly as powerful as people think. He's not even as powerful as Fortnite Galactus. Now, I know that seems like a wild take. I mean, Galactus is literally dead on the map, along with a whole bunch of other superheroes. Which, yes they are. But you need to keep in mind, those are snapshots of the characters, not the characters themselves. Plus the fact we don't know how Doom held up against them. And I mean, we see him literally get damage from Pandora's box, something that is leagues weaker than the 0 point. The same 0 point that Galactus was able to overpower. But most importantly, he died from bullets. Yeah. While yes, it took a lot, he still died to normal bullets. So if Godzilla does a single supercharged beam, that would probably do the job. So with low difficulty, Godzilla, surprisingly, beats Doom. So out of the 15 events we covered, Godzilla wins 12, loses 2, and for the Galactus one, it's kinda up to you. But what do you all think? Let me know in the comments. And make sure to check out gifts from Goji, kaiju-sized fundraiser that I started for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. For this holiday season, we're trying to raise $54,000 for St. Jude's Children's Hospital, so if you have some extra leftover cash for the holiday, check out the fundraiser and please consider donating. But to any new viewers, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and make sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I'd be happy to do some Fortnite stuff in the future. And if you're watching this live or within like the first hour and a half of this video going up, I will most likely be live on YouTube, so make sure to swing by and ask some questions. But as always, keep collecting. Goji Guy out. See ya.